Arguably the biggest game at E3 this year when measured by the level of hype from the audience and every games journalist at the event was CYBERPUNK 2077. In addition to watching that new E3 trailer, a lucky few got to see an hour-long gameplay demo that seemed to blow them away. Whatever was behind those closed doors was clearly impressive, and I won't lie, I'm very excited about CYBERPUNK 2077, and here's why. Hey, Pete here, I hope you're all keeping well and having a lovely day, and in this video I want to talk about CYBERPUNK 2077, a game that was first announced 5 years ago at the very beginning of 2013. Following the E3 trailer reveal and private gameplay demo, there is now a lot more information out there about the game. To make it easier to digest and to allow me to quickly get to the best bits, I want to round up the top 5 reasons why CYBERPUNK 2077 is probably going to be a must-play. Arguably the #1 developer when it comes to great game quality combined with a fair business model, CD Projekt Red is probably the biggest reason for the excitement surrounding CYBERPUNK 2077. While yes, the game itself is looking fantastic, we're now living in a time where the businesses behind a game can make or break that title. Recently, shady business practices in the gaming industry and anti-consumer money-making schemes have crippled what should have been incredible gaming experiences. CD Projekt Red knows what they're doing and they stand by those business decisions. Their E3 trailer actually contained an Easter egg which said, "We leave greed to others." If you were a fan of how The Witcher 3 was supported post-launch with its slew of free DLCs and 2 paid-for expansions, then you'll appreciate what they've planned for CYBERPUNK 2077. What's especially cool though is that CDPR are working with CYBERPUNK creator Mike Pondsmith and allowing him to see the game and have some level of input. During E3, he was actually part of the interview team and seemed very happy with how the game is shaping up. While it's normal for PR to get all hyped up, sometimes the actual creators can be a little bit harder to please. Pondsmith sounds genuinely excited though. So this is causing a little bit of controversy right now. Fans of Witcher 3 and RPGs in general are up in arms about CYBERPUNK's 2077 use of a first-person perspective. And while I can empathise with those who want it to be third-person, I'm primarily a first-person shooter fan first and foremost. They are what I play most these days, and though I've dabbled in a few third-person titles, I always feel more in control and more immersed in the experience and ultimately more satisfied when controlling a character from a first-person point of view. And people that actually saw the gameplay demo are saying it makes sense that this game is in a first-person perspective. There are various HUD elements and special moves like the ability to slow down time, and that works so much more effectively from a first-person perspective. The developers say that the first-person view also helps make the oppressive dystopian environment easier to feel by the player. Rather than watching the events from above in a third-person style, players are forced into the eyeballs of the protagonist, which subconsciously makes it more personal to you, the gamer. Speaking of the protagonist, the main character of the game will be completely customizable. There's an initial character creation screen where you can choose to be a man or a woman, both of whom are fully voice acted. You can change how they look, their backstory and more. It's essentially exactly what you would want from the perfect RPG character. Though fully customizable, the player character known as V still has some general traits. He's a hired gun on the rise who has just got their first serious contract. It's then up to players on how he or she proceeds through the game. What's interesting though is that players don't actually choose a class from the beginning. There's no locking you into a specific role, which can sometimes come with regrets further down the line if you don't do the proper research. No, CYBERPUNK 2077 has what they're calling a fluid class system, which adapts based on the choices players make. You can also combine classes, utilise perks from optional classes, and more. Admittedly, the class system does sound a little bit convoluted right now, which is to be expected, since all of this information is based on impressions from games journalists who were rapidly jotting down notes. I'm sure it'll make more sense when gameplay is publicly shown though. Regardless of that, we can expect deep customization in this game with the choices we are making having massive consequences. Night City is where CYBERPUNK 2077 is based, and thanks to the new E3 trailer, we've gotten a good look at what life is like there. Night City was voted the worst place to live in America, apparently with a sky-high rate of violence and more people living below the poverty line than anywhere else, and yet it's still the go-to destination for many trying to make their own dreams come true. Though set in a dystopian future, the streets are still overflowing with people. Bustling life means there's plenty to see and interact with. Cyberpunk 2077 is a fully open world with 6 distinct districts, hundreds of buildings and thousands of rooms for you to enter. There are also dozens of miles of roads, and CDPR promises that there are always places to be and things to do. Expect to spend dozens of hours completing the main story quests and lots of additional activities in there as well. There's apparently a good mix of both of these to satisfy the hardcore completionists and also gamers who like to focus on the instant action. These days I do follow the works of quite a few games journalists and critics out there, and I have to say I've never seen so many people this impressed with a game before. Whatever happened behind those closed doors must have been truly magical, as Cyberpunk 2077 blew so many minds. And I'm not just talking about the usual over-the-top enthusiasm we get with these games, I'm talking about the tough-to-please critics here who will nitpick every little detail and don't like to hype things up. Even they are talking about how this game is going to push the envelope and how amazing it looks. This for me is very significant because I have a lot of respect for some of these critics and journalists out there, and to see them overwhelmed and sometimes speechless has me impressed, because I know that they wouldn't overhype or talk positively about a game that they really didn't think deserved it. No, I don't think they were corrupted or anything like that. I think Cyberpunk 2077 delivered something special and genuinely blew everyone's socks off. Now the pressure is really on though for CD Projekt Red to release gameplay footage to the gaming world and allow us to judge this supposed god tier experience we've all been hearing about. That said, I can't wait to see it. So that's just 5 reasons why I'm excited about Cyberpunk 2077 and why I feel it could be a must-play game. There's no launch date yet, and CD Projekt Red has simply said it'll release it when it's ready. When it does come out though, it'll be gracing PC, PS4 and Xbox One, or potentially even the next gen consoles depending on when it releases, I guess. There's also potential for a multiplayer component sometime down the line. Multiplayer is in the R&D stage, though it could be scrapped. So yes, still a lot of mystery surrounding this game, but the hype is very much real and I'm just excited to learn more about it. Let me know what your thoughts are on Cyberpunk 2077 in the comment section down below. Did you follow it at E3 and what were your impressions about the game? Is it on your radar now, or will you need to see some actual gameplay before making your mind up as to whether you will buy this game? If you have enjoyed this video, do consider leaving it a like, and if you're new here, subscribe and click that bell icon so you don't miss any of my uploads. Thank you ever so much for watching, do take care, and until next time, adios amigos. So here's a chance to catch up on some of my latest videos.